Well, welcome to Ravensdale Bible Academy, and today's course is Introduction to Marriage. And today's lesson is, what is love? Now, you might think that's a silly topic, but quite honestly, it's the answer that most people get wrong. Most people don't actually know what love is. In fact, I would challenge you to press pause and write down what you think your definition of love is, and then replay this and see if you got it right. Because love is defined not by society, but by the Bible. And the Bible has a clear definition of what love is. The Bible has a clear definition of how we are supposed to live in harmony with other people in relationship. And so if you don't understand the biblical definition of love, then you don't understand love. Let me give you a couple examples. See, love isn't, first of all, physical. See, a lot of people think that if I touch somebody and I feel tingly, that's love. Or if I express myself physically with somebody, then that's love. And certainly we've seen that portrayed on TV and in movies so horribly, because if they want to show love, they show physical. Well, that's not the definition of love. Anybody can provide the physical element, but that's not what love is. That's not what true love is. Yes, we see a physical part in true love, but that's not what defines love. It's the same thing with emotion. Yes, we feel in love, we have feelings for people, but we're not defined by emotions of love. That's why, and that's the reason why so many people make this phrase, I fell out of love. I don't have those tingly feelings anymore. I don't feel awestruck anymore. Well, those are just pure emotions. And if that were the definition of love, then certainly you would have an argument to say, well, you're not in love. But that's not what the Bible says. That's not what God defines love. Again, love would include emotion, but that's not how it's defined. And then a third aspect that we see abused all the time with the definition of love by the world is that love is temporary. That you can, again, fall out of love, that love only lasts a certain period of time, that love isn't for life. Well, love is a decision. Love is as we mentioned before, is a covenant that you enter into. It's a contractual agreement that you enter into. And so feeling has nothing to do with it. And wanting to get out early has nothing to do with it, because now you're in a covenant relationship that is not intended to be temporary. It's intended to be forever. Well, so we talked a little bit about what love is not, but I think the important thing is to understand, well, what is love? And the Bible gives us a lot of indicators of what love is, but let me just give you one passage, and we see this in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 8. And it begins with this: love is patient, love is kind, love is not jealous, it does not brag, it's not arrogant, it doesn't act unbecomingly, it doesn't seek its own, it's not easily provoked, and it does not take into account wrongs suffered. Love does not rejoice in unrighteousness, but rejoices with truth. Love bears all things, love believes all things, love hopes on all things, love endures in all things. Love never fails. And so that's the definition of love. The definition of love then begins with things like being patient. Well, I don't feel like being impatient. It doesn't matter if you feel like it, you are called to action. You'll notice that love is not a plural. This isn't like a buffet list that you get to just pick like, well, I think I like the idea of being kind, and I like the idea of bearing all things, and I like the idea of not being jealous, but I don't have to really do all of these things, do I? Yes. That is the biblical definition of love, singular, that includes all these other things like being patient, being kind, not being jealous, not being arrogant, not acting unbecomingly, not keeping into accounts wrongs that were previously suffered, bearing all things, hoping, right? Enduring, lasting, forever. See, this is the beautiful definition of what love is and the standard that God sets for love. So as you're thinking about potentially marrying somebody, can you do these things? Can you commit to these things in a contract that you are going to make this contract with this person to say, look, I am going to commit forever. It doesn't matter how I feel. It doesn't matter, if I'm in a good mood or a bad mood, I am going to do this no matter what. It's not like a candy bar that, you love this candy bar. And then after a while, you don't love it and you love a different candy bar. See, love was intended to be an action that you do. Love is an action that you do. You do kindness to the other person. You don't act unbecomingly. You don't respond with jealousy. And by the way, because these two people are both sinners, we will struggle and not do these perfectly. And so then we don't keep a chart or an account of the wrongs suffered. And so if you want to have a great marriage and you want to understand what marriage is really all about, then you need to know what love is.